Oh, I just know no one predicted the summer box office correctly. Hey there, Cinephiles. Back in May, I tried to predict the summer box office for 2023, which for those of you that don't know, runs from the first weekend of May to Labor Day. And now that the summer movie season is over and the numbers are totaled up, let's see how well I did. First, I want to look back at my personal predictions, and then we can get into the actual top 10. Starting off my prediction list at 10, I had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. This was one of the last big blockbuster summer-type movies that was coming out right before school started, and it being animated and more geared towards kids, I thought it could have a really strong push right at the end of summer. And that's why I had this one at number 10. And number 9, I had predicted Oppenheimer. At the time of my predictions, we didn't know the rating of the film. I thought it was going to be PG-13. It turned out to be rated R. And I thought we were living in a world where only Oppenheimer or Barbie would make the top 10 officially. Maybe I'm wrong about that. We'll see in a little bit. And I just had this feeling of the Nolan fanboys being the ones to actually go in droves in theaters because I knew this was going to get the IMAX money too. At number 8, I predicted Transformers Rise of the Beast. It's a Transformers movie. Nostalgia for the Beast spots, which I felt from many people. Those were my reasonings at having this on the list. Yeah, there's not much else to say. At number 7, I had Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Now, despite its very long title, I had this movie in this slot purely because of Tom Cruise and Top Gun Maverick, which was another Tom Cruise-led action movie. Also, with the success of Mission Impossible Fallout being the most profitable of these movies, I thought there was nowhere to go but up for this franchise. At number 6, I had Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Nostalgia and also me wanting this movie to be good, just as a movie and do well box office wise, that was a huge reason why I put it here. Unfortunately, I was wrong about it doing well critically. So, at number 5, I had predicted Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. The reason I had this at number 5 was because once Into the Spider-Verse got onto streaming, it cultivated such a huge fan base. Because originally, the first movie did not do spectacular in the box office. But ever since 2018, it has so many fans behind it, and I just knew this movie would do well right in the middle of summer. At number 4, I had predicted The Flash. This was a movie that was getting great reviews at the time with its many free screenings that came out prior to it actually releasing in theaters. And also Michael Keaton. And who doesn't love Michael Keaton, especially as Batman? At number 3, I had Fast X, the beginning of the end of the road. This is a franchise that so many people dislike, and that's why I thought many people wanted to see it finally end. At least finally begin to end. At number 2, I had predicted The Little Mermaid. Live action Disney movies generally do well. That was my reasoning. In fact, they always do so well, they usually end up top 2 and not number 2. And at number 1, I had predicted Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This was the big first movie of the summer. It was James Gunn's end to the MCU. It was getting great reviews, and it was the end to the trilogy in which many people love. But alright, with my quick prediction list out of the way, let's get into the actual top 10 highest grossing movies of summer 2023. Domestic, of course. Kicking off the list at number 10 is Elemental. Man, I freaking knew an animated movie would be at number 10. I just chose the wrong one. When this first came out, same weekend as The Flash, by the way, it was not looking good. This was poised to be one of the biggest bombs, if not the biggest bomb for Pixar as a studio. And that's another video for another time of how Disney is screwing over Pixar's box office. But Elemental had legs. And in fact, such long legs that it outlasted Flash in theaters, which is actually impressive considering how mixed of a response this movie got when it first came out. And I'm glad it did well enough to get into the top 10. It's a cute little movie. At number 9 is Transformers Rise of the Beast. One spot off with this one, which is kind of annoying, but I'm glad it didn't do as well as I thought it would. At number 8 is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. This was probably the biggest fumble of a release out of any of these movies on here because it came out just before Barbenheimer and after the surprise success of another movie, so this was just struggling from the gate. And not only domestically, but kind of worldwide too. That combined with a major budget for this, it just wasn't the smash hit that it wanted it to be. And overall, I thought the movie was okay, so I don't feel too bad about the placement for this. I just, once again, thought it would do a little better and actually be one spot above where it's at. So that's 2 that I've missed just by 1 spot so far. At number 7 was Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And now for the third movie in a row that I was one spot off on. This movie with a $300 million budget was just not good enough to come anywhere close to that in the States. Obviously, it did well enough to be in the top 10 of the summer, but it needed to do so much better in order to make its money back. Because you combine that production budget with its marketing, and I don't think Disney even broke even with this. If only you were a better movie, Indiana Jones. I was rooting for you. At number 6 is the surprise hit of the summer, and I was not expecting this. This is also the only movie I haven't seen on this list, and that is Sound of Freedom. Despite all of its controversy, which I will not be getting into this video, this was a major hit. And this movie certainly galvanized a certain section of people to go out and watch this, which was definitely interesting seeing this almost grassroots campaign for all of these people saying that this was the most important movie of the year. And to that, I have nothing to say. It's just very interesting that this movie made this much money. At number 5 is The Little Mermaid. Now I know, being the 5th highest grossing movie of the summer must sound like a great thing, but for a Disney live action movie, this is pretty low, I think. I personally didn't like this movie, nor do I like most Disney live action movies, so I'm kind of glad it didn't do as well as I thought it would. And this has nothing to do with the casting of the lead on why I dislike this movie. I thought her voice was beautiful, especially in a theater setting. Just overall, the movie felt empty. But anyways, moving on, I'm happy it didn't go above 5. At number 4 is Oppenheimer. That's right, a 3-hour-long historical drama is the 4th highest grossing movie of the summer. What a world we live in. In my personal list, I had it at number 9, and I am so glad it did better than that. Granted, the whole Barbenheimer weekend was massive for this and Barbie. Instead of cannibalizing each other, so many people did the double feature at some point that weekend or even the weekends after that it makes me really happy to see this type of movie do so well in the summer. And shoot, it's nearing $900 million worldwide as we speak. So it's not even just a US thing, it's a worldwide phenomenon for this movie too. At number 3 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This was the movie that I thought was going to be number 1 at the box office, and it just so happened I was only 2 spots off. It's a good movie. It's a good end to a trilogy. It's fun. It has heartbreaking moments. I watched it a few times in the theaters myself, and I knew it was going to be top 3 at least for the summer. So here it is. This one is probably the least shocking placement of any of the movies. At number 2 is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I am ecstatic that this movie was number 2. Look, I know many people didn't love the ending to this movie. I did though. I'm ready for so many more of these movies, even though I'd be happy with just one more. That's a great conclusion to this trilogy. But anyways, what makes me even happier is how so many people actually went out to see this movie in theaters. I knew there was going to be a fan base for this movie, and seeing so many people love this and also dress up as some of the characters in this was just really cool to see. Shout out Spider-Punk. He was one of the most beloved characters of the summer for sure. But alright, at number 1 at the box office for this summer is Barbie. Barbie was the smash hit of the summer, and now it's the highest grossing movie of the year. It made so much more money than the rest of the list, including number 2. Like, there was a steep gap. You know, watching this and Oppenheimer, it's just so cool seeing 2 movies that are so different actually complement each other so well. And it caused both of these movies to be top 4 of the summer. And mind you, Barbie did this without even having IMAX screenings. It did have some premium screenings, but I know IMAX was where it was at, which actually later on this month, it will have an IMAX release. So that's something to look out for. But it was really cool seeing the droves of people in pink go out and watch this movie and it be as successful as it was critically and financially. I will say I completely underestimated the want to see this movie because I feel so stupid for not including it in my own personal predictions list. That being said, I did get 7 of the 10 movies right. None of them in the right spot though. And I mentioned this earlier, but 3 of them were just 1 spot off, even though they were in the right order. I had Indiana Jones, Mission Impossible, and Transformers at 6, 7, and 8 respectively, but in actuality, they ended up being 7, 8, and 9 in the exact same order, which is that's just so funny to me. As for the 3 movies that I did predict being in the top 10 and them not making it, they actually were 11, 12, and 13 at the box office, so I wasn't too far off. which ended up being The Flash, Fast X, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. So even me being so wrong with my predictions, I at least wasn't that far off. My two biggest whiffs definitely had to be me leaving Barbie off of the list completely, which was stupid. I should have put it at number 10. And also having The Flash at 4, which ended up being 11th. And I'm not going to take anything away for Sound of Freedom being at 6, which was a movie that wasn't even on so many people's radars at the time. Because I did do a little research and trying to see who exactly had what on their list before I made my own. But that being said, the surprise overt success of Barbie, Oppenheimer, and Sound of Freedom does mean good business for the theaters. This also means that you shouldn't be making some of the most expensive movies in the world and franchises that don't have as great legs anymore. Specifically talking about Mission Impossible, Fast X, and Indiana Jones. Those three movies are amongst some of the most expensive movies of all time, and yet they were massive disappointments at the box office, not only domestically, but worldwide. But alright, that's me reacting to the summer box office for 2023. Let me know your guys' thoughts and takeaways from the box office this summer. Was there any surprises for you, or are you just so glad that Barbie was number 1 that you don't even care about the rest of the list? Be sure to let me know down in the comments below. Also, be sure to follow us on our socials. As always, thank you guys for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Stay tuned for more Yeti Films content, and I'll watch you later.